What is happening, all you sexy YouTube warriors out there? RangeDayBro back at it again, and today we're going to be taking a look at the HK MR762, a little bit of an unboxing and a first impressions review. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so real quick before we start the video, I did want to start the video off on a positive note, as I always like to. Peace and love is always the answer, guys. Do not ever resort to violence unless you absolutely have to, unless violence is inflicted upon you. It is a last resort. Yeah, we're talking about guns here. We all know what they're here for. They're here to fight for life and freedom and all that good stuff, which we all love and care about. But they're here to protect that stuff, and hopefully it never comes to that. We pray to God it never does. But as the old saying goes, pray for peace, prepare for war. So let's get into the review. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I am a very happy man today. As you can tell, I have my dream gun, the HK MR762. Yes, it was between this and the Scar 17, and I ended up going with the Scar 17 originally, but now that I've had some time with the Scar, I wasn't really as impressed with it as I wanted to be or as I thought I would be, so I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on the MR762. Now, this guy is the current sniper weapon system or DMR system of the US military. So the G28 is the military designation for this guy. And I gotta say, after the first time going to the range with it and taking it out to about 600 yards, 570 yards, I'm very impressed with the performance of it. But before we get into the shooting portion, I did a little bit of an accuracy testing. I just want to talk to you guys today about what comes in the box, or the bag rather, and just go over tip to butt kind of what I have on this thing right now, and then we'll talk about shooting, accuracy, and all that good stuff. As we've come to know and love, HK comes in a nice HK range bag. It is really nice that HK includes this because they include absolutely nothing else. No iron sights, which is pretty common nowadays, but for the price of this rifle, you'd hope that it'd come with more than just this bag. However, it did come with one magazine, 120 round mag, which is nice because these mags are not cheap. If you get them from hkparts.com, they're about 80 bucks. But I got some of these from the Mag Shack recently, I believe is the name of the website, for about $50 or $55 each. So I recently got about 4 extra mags, so I got 5 in total, 20 round mags, HK, made in Germany. But besides that, let's see what else comes in the bag here. So you have your owner's manual and an HK sticker that's inside the flap here. And it does have some Velcro to kind of secure your MR762 in place. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Then there's a little Velcroed in bag in here, which is where the mag was. And let's see what else is exactly in here. I haven't really, obviously, messed with it too much. So you got a little basic lock there to keep the gun secure. And then a bunch of Velcro straps. I'm guessing these are for securing it within the bag or securing other items, but they have measurements on them, 9-inch, 7-inch, and a 7-inch and an 11-inch. So I'm not really sure what those are for. I'm sure someone could let me know down in the comments what those are for. And then the standard HK multi-tool, which is pretty much screwdrivers, flatheads, and then some Allen screws or Allen keys on here as well. Everything you'll need, I'm assuming, to work on the gun. That's pretty much it. HK does not include anything else. And in fact, I went to throw my sling on today at the range, and they don't even have another QD point on here. So I had to throw my sling through old school style this way, but at least the rail does have 2 QD points. Before I get ahead of myself, let's just go over the build real quick, tip to butt. Starting up here at the front, this is the HK stock flash hider. One thing to keep in mind, one thing to note, is that it is not centered. It is slightly crooked, as you can tell. Probably be hard to tell in the video, but it is slightly off to the right-hand side. It's more of a 1 o'clock than a straight noon there. So that's a little frustrating for the price of the gun, but it is a little bit different than a standard A2 birdcage flash hider. HK does include it with this little notch cut out in the front, which I've been told is a wire cutter. Not really sure. Does that mean you shoot a bullet to cut the wire? Who cares? Moving on back, this is the 16.5-inch 308 barrel. It is an absolute bull thick boy barrel, as HK is known for, with the MR556 as well. Performed really well today. We'll talk about that in the accuracy portion. I am running a Magpul M-Lock bipod. As you can tell, this whole rail is M-Lock here with a Picatinny all along the top. I am running some canted, some 45-degree offset M-Bus Pro iron sights on here as well. The G28 comes standard with Troy iron sights, but I already had these guys, so after the price of this rifle, I think it's excusable for me to save some money where I can. As much as I really would love to have a clone gun, I'm just not prepared to spend that kind of money, all those clone parts. So the rail is really cool. It's really wide. That's my only complaint, is it's a very wide, beefy rail. I do have a big hand. You can tell my hand almost comes all the way around it. It doesn't feel bad. It's just not my preference. I do prefer the crucifix shape of the Geisley, which we do have one on the way. I found one that was on sale. It was a blem rail, so we'll be replacing this with a Geisley eventually, but it does have 2 QD points up here at the top, 2 angles, and it's got 2 bolts here as well, and a little bit of an exposed portion, which is kind of the iconic MR762 look there. It's got a little notch here at the top, indexes with the top of your upper receiver, just like the MR556. Now moving on back to the upper receiver, nothing really special besides that, once again, it's that little step up that you guys see that you've seen on the MR556. This guy has it as well. It's a little step up, so any absolute co-witness will feel like a lower 1/3 co-witness as far as your cheek to optic height, not your iron sights, obviously, because your irons will be on the same plane. But we've talked about that in previous videos, so I'll move on past that. Lower receiver. Oh, one more thing. It's got a little shield here on the left-hand side of the gun to protect the bolt release here. Kind of a nice little feature so your kit doesn't accidentally release your bolt or lock it back or whatever. I believe it's a polymer dust cover. Nothing really fancy there. Moving on to the lower, I do like the circular magazine release. It's a little different from a typical AR-10 style magazine release. It does not take AR-10 mags, and it's got an ambidextrous safety selector, which is on a 90-degree throw, and you can throw it on safe when the hammer is forward. So cool feature that HK has that not a lot of other manufacturers have. So just pull the trigger there. I can throw it on safe. Speaking of the trigger, finally ghost that trigger together. It's a 2-stage trigger. You got this little take up right here. Then you hit a wall. A little bit of creep, a little bit of grit. Kind of hit another wall there, and then it breaks. Releasing the pressure. Gritty, then it kind of jumps you forward, and then going back. There's that first stage again. Well, actually, there's that first stage. There's what's supposed to be the second stage. That's another weird creep. It creeps to a second wall, and then it breaks again. But it's predictable, which is the nice part. Definitely not a Geisley trigger. Definitely would like to have a Geisley trigger in here eventually, but that's kind of the least of my worries, and we'll kind of talk about that here in a little bit. But got a forward assist on it. I'm not sure if the G28 has that or not. But otherwise, pretty standard. MR762 A1 lower, and it comes with a Magpul K2 Plus grip. It's that rubberized grip. Not my favorite, least of my worries. This definitely is going to change one day. This trigger guard right here. I'm not sure if that's a standard trigger guard or not, but I'm definitely going to change that out for something different. Now moving on back, it might be hard to tell on video, and I didn't really know this, but this buffer tube is an absolute tank of a buffer tube. It is not a standard buffer tube by any means. I don't know if it's a commercial. I've never even owned a gun with a commercial buffer tube, but it looks larger than what I imagine the commercial would be like. I'm not too sure, but it is super, super big. And I guess I'm stuck with this stock because I was going to change it out for a B5 SOP mod, which is kind of my go-to stock. But it is what it is. It's not a horrible stock, and it is the very iconic looking stock. So I guess it's going to be there for a while now. Last thing, charging handle. Nothing crazy. Same one you pretty much have on the MR762, but oversized. It's just got a big old latch on one side, perfectly usable, and it helps you to get around any kind of big optic you have back there, which is nice. Let's just get it to fit and finish, guys. I know I kind of beat a dead horse, but HK, these guns, this is the opposite feeling that I had when I bought the SCAR. When I pulled the SCAR out, it felt like a toy, and I know I felt it in the store before, but when I got it home and it was mine, I just was really uneasy about the amount of money I spent on something that felt like a literal airsoft gun. This doesn't give you that feeling at all. And it's not just because it's heavier, which it is heavier. It's because of everything about it, the fit, the finish, the way the parts move. There's absolutely no play, no slop whatsoever. I'm just very, very, truly impressed with this. As you guys know, the HK does have the detents on the breakdown pins here. So both your front and rear receiver pins, you need to like push a little Allen key in there, which is locked back here in your butt stock. So they have this little Allen key back here with a thinner portion on it. And you use that to actually push in the detent to break down the gun and get it apart if you ever needed to clean it or clear malfunction in the field. It's just an extra step that you don't have to do with most other ARs. But that is what I would credit the absolute zero play between the upper and lower two. Now this front one was a bit tight when I first got this thing before I shot it. I haven't tried to take it apart yet to clean it. I would assume it's going to loosen up a little bit over time as I get to shooting it more. First up, 308 Winchester, 147 grain. FMJ boat tail. Gonna do 5-round group. at 100 yards. Alright, that's 5 there. Now we're going to be doing the Super Performance 150 grain SSTs from Hornady Super Performance. 5-round group. I'm going to be going for the bottom right target. And so you guys will be able to tell what groups this thing liked. I did end up zeroing it with the Hornady Tap 168 grain ELD match, I believe it was. And I took this thing out, and that's what I went out to range with. This is after zeroing it for my Hornady Tap 168 grain. Pretty great group. Just about 1 MOA. I just did a couple shot groups just to show you guys how it kind of all performed. Now I know, granted, it was all Hornady ammo. So after I got that zeroing portion / the accuracy portion done, I did take it out to the longer range at RPR. By the way, that's where all this footage is from. So I recommend anybody who's in the Central Texas area, definitely go check out RPR Ranch or RPR Range, whatever they call it, Revel Peak. Andrea's a great person over there. She runs the show, and it's the only place I like to go to shoot. I know it's a little bit of a drive out near Marble Falls. However, it's totally worth it when you get out there. You'll see why. It's beautiful, and then you can actually work on your long range, get your dopes down, figure out where to hold in your reticle with certain ammo. It's just a really great place, and I always meet great people out there, so I recommend anybody. They don't sponsor the channel, however, they are friends of the channel, and I'm a really big fan of them. Guys are like, don't blow it up, don't tell everybody about the secret spot, but I really believe it's time for more Americans and more Texans to start training long range. So if you're in the area, go check out RPR. But getting back to the gun, one thing I didn't talk about was the Trijicon Credo that we have on top of here. This is no stranger to the channel. It's been on several different rigs because glass is very expensive and I like expensive guns, so something's got to give. So I did take this off of my Scar. I think I most recently had it on there, and it is a 1:8 first focal plane, really good glass, Japanese glass on it, and it is featuring the Valhalla Tactical Hanger right here with a 509T, which I didn't have time to zero, unfortunately, but I am getting ready to do a full review on this, which we'll be getting into. But this thing really shined when we went out to the long range. Just started at 300, then worked my way out, and it's really not quite 400. It's like 370 or whatever it is. I'll roll it in here on the screen, but all I did was I held 1 mil high for 300, 2 mils high for 400, 3 mils high for 500, and then 4 mils high for 600. Once again, not exactly those distances, but I was very impressed with how easy it was to get hits on target with a 308, especially when you're moving from a 5.56. And it wasn't terribly windy today, but the wind just has a lot less of an effect on a heavier bullet like the 308 caliber than a 5.56. So talk about layups, it's really, really good time. So what I did was I just learned my dopes, wrote them down, and took my time on those first few shots. And then I did a couple speed runs where I started at 300 and then did 2 shots on target all the way out to 6, and then just did it again. And I think I did it 3 times. The third time I did it just 1 shot. So I actually started at 600, Took one shot, went to 5, 4, 3. Hit. All right. Well, I had 2 misses at 600. I was holding right edge because the wind was picking up when I sighted this thing in. I was holding right edge, but the wind died down. So let's see if I can do that again with 1 shot on each target. Let's see how fast we can do it. Starting at 300. Left to right is on. Like Donkey Kong. I want to get a 7 PRC. Yeah, you can't find it. 6.5 PRC. Hit 1.5, that was hit at 4. 500. Hit 1.6. That one's like over there, right? Hit. Okay, that was a hit every time. Meanwhile, I had a little bit of a spoof. I got 5 rounds left. Let's do it one more time. Let's go 3, 4, 5, 6. Or should we go in reverse? Let's go in reverse. Let's go 6. So starting now. Hit. All right, guys. Pretty fucking cool. But I was very, very, very happy with the performance for just getting this gun out of the box. No fancy trigger, no fancy upgrades to it. Really, it's just a stock gun. Being able to reach out to 575 yards with ease and repeatability was just a really great time. So, all right, guys. So wrapping it up and summarizing, do I recommend the HK MR762? Absolutely. If you can afford this thing, this is the best gun money can buy, in my humble opinion. I've shot the FN Scar. I have not shot the LMT or the Knight's Armament, full disclosure. What's my relationship with HK or FN? Nothing. They don't fucking care about me. They don't even know about me. So they're not paying me to say this. I just love this gun. Call me a fanboy. Call me what you will. It's just a gun that you know you can depend on your life with. And that's the kind of guns I like to buy. As much as I love my custom AR-10 that I've built, there's just something about a factory gun that you know has served overseas in a war zone and continues to work as it's been prescribed. This is one of the best guns money can buy. Is it overpriced? Yes, of course. You pay for the HK name, just like anything. You know, people are still buying the MP5 for $4 grand, and it's a completely outdated gun. Some would say this is even outdated, but I don't think so. I think this is a great DMR role, which is what's going to play in my arsenal. It's going to play that DMR special purpose rifle. Quite a do-it-all, even though it could be a do-it-all battle rifle for sure, especially with the 1X on this guy and the offset. If I had to grab one gun and go to war, it used to be my MR556. I think I'd have to change it to the MR762 because just how amazing this gun is, and it just runs, guys. It just runs. Not one malfunction. Now, granted, we still haven't suppressed it. That's a whole other topic for another video. But for right now, guys, I just wanted to give you the initial impressions. And obviously, I love it. And that's not confirmation bias. I told you, I bought this Scar and I thought I was going to love it. And I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed in the way the FN Scar performed. This guy, on the other hand, so far so good. We've only had about 80 rounds through it, so under 100 rounds through it so far. So I have quite a few more on the FN Scar, but being that I just got this thing, first impressions are amazing, amazing gun. And there will be a full review to follow, some more high-speed stuff. I'll be running it more aggressively, close and personal around barriers, barricades. The next course I go to, if I go to a rifle course, I'm intending to bring this guy so I can run it in a carbine course, because I want to be able to run this thing like a carbine, like a battle rifle, versus running it just like shooting one shot at 600, waiting 10 seconds and shooting another. Not really fun there. So yeah, guys, so wrapping it up, absolutely love this gun. There'll be a lot more videos to follow on this. As you guys can tell, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the room. We do have a new studio and it is not set up yet, but keeping what I promised you guys, I am dedicated and committed to doing one video per week this entire year, so bear with me. I'm gonna try to not have any loss in quality for the videos. It does take a lot of time to do these videos, so if you guys aren't already, please check your subscriptions and subscribe to the channel. Really means a lot to me. It gives me the energy and the focus and the drive I need to keep pushing these videos out because I don't get paid. In fact, I spend a lot of money making these videos for you guys, so if you do enjoy them, it means a lot to me, and it's free. Go ahead and click the subscribe button, guys. And if you want to support the channel at all, we have merch over at RangeDayBro.com, as well as the gun charms, which drop. The preseason's out with 4 designs, so go ahead over there and check those things out, guys, if you want to support the channel. Otherwise, dropping a comment, liking, and subscribing is super clutch, so I really appreciate you guys doing that. That's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel once again. We do have some exciting things coming in for the studio soon, some tactical walls. Going to be looking pretty sick in here, pretty John Wick in here pretty soon, so stay tuned for more videos. And until next time, stay safe, stay dangerous. RangeDayBro out.